Okay, so let's talk about how to use the dissecting microscope. When you get the dissecting microscope, if you need to get it out of the cabinet or move it along the bench, you always want to grab it from the base, okay, and put it exactly where you want it. Don't slide it along the bench. Those vibrations as you slide could harm the inner components of the microscope. Okay, so place it somewhere comfortable, take the protective cover off, and then plug it in. And you might have to plug this extra wire in that sticks up on top. Okay, now to turn the microscope on, you'll want to flip this switch in the back for the main power source. And then there are two switches over on this side that control the top and the bottom lights. You can switch them both on. And then as you work with your sample, you can decide if you want both on or just one on, etc. And they each also have a dial on the side here that adjusts the strength of their light. Okay, so before you start looking at anything under the microscope, you also want to set this dial to 1. This is the magnification control. When it's set to 1, that 1 is multiplied by the 10x magnification in the ocular sphere. So this 1 actually means 10x magnification. Okay, so before you get started, you want to adjust the distance between the eyepieces. If you're one of those people that closes one eye and just uses one eye to look through a microscope, this is most likely where you're going wrong. So take a bit of time to look through and comfortably set these for your eye width. All right, when you're ready to look at your sample, let's say we're going to look at a plate of worms here. You can place it on the microscope. If there's condensation on your plate, quickly grab the lid, wipe it off, place it back on. All right, now a very good idea is whenever you're trying to initially focus your microscope, you want to make sure that you are 100% looking at something, all right? Let's say I have only 10 worms on this plate and I don't know where they are. Well, anytime that I'm looking at one particular region, there may or may not actually be a worm for me to focus on. So it would be much easier if instead of looking at the plate I really care about, I took a different plate that I knew was just covered with worms all over and placed it on so that wherever I was looking, there would be something for me to focus on. Okay, so that's a handy trick. Once you get something focused for this one plate, all of our plates, the agar is about at the same depth, so when you switch a different plate on, you should be very close to correctly focused. So you should only have to move your focus a little bit when you switch from plate to plate. All right, so I've got a plate. I know there's lots of worms on here for me to look at. I'm set to 10x magnification. I look through, and then I use these knobs to focus. All right, so I should be able to find some worms here. If you're having trouble, you might want to try adjusting the light levels or adjusting this knob, which is the mirror reflector that's underneath here. Okay, so adjusting the angle that that light is being reflected back can also help you find those worms a little easier. All right, so play around with the light intensities, the angle of the mirror, etc., until you're able to clearly see your worms. Okay, once you are, if you want to go to a higher magnification setting, you can just turn your knob up, and I recommend only doing it relatively slowly, and then refocus. Right, when you go from 10x to 20x, you shouldn't have to adjust your focus very much at all. So if you go a little bit, and then just adjust the focus ever so slightly so you're perfectly focused again, and then go a little bit up higher. That's the easiest way to go from 10x all the way up to our maximum magnification of 50x. When you're all done with the microscope, you always want to make sure that you turn the main power supply off, and ideally also turn the side lights off and put the cover back.